Hello, welcome back to the Abundant Joy Tarot. This is Ade, and I am bringing you a reading today, a pretty in-depth reading today, where we're going to dig into this feeling of feeling numb. So the reading is, I'm numb. How can I increase my joy? What do my elevated guides and ancestors, what guidance do they have for me? So it's going to be kind of a three-part reading in which we're looking at. I'm going to pull a bunch of cards for it. The questions that we're going to look at is, first we're going to dig into what is causing the feeling of numbness and what are we trying not to feel? Because typically numbness is kind of a feeling in and of itself that is covering something else that we're not trying to feel. So what are we trying not to feel? That's the first thing we'll investigate. And that might also be a significator to you. So if it feels like, okay, that's kind of not what's going on with me, then you can choose one of the other piles and see if that works for you. All right. Then the next thing we'll dig into is, what can I do to increase my joy and feel fully again, to experience love and life again? Okay. That's the second part of the reading. And the third part will be, what is the guidance from my elevated spirits and or ancestors, depending on how you view that. So we're going to go into the pick a pile. But before we do that, I want to first just thank everyone who has subscribed. If you're enjoying the readings that you're getting from Abundant Joy Tarot, I ask that you please like, share, subscribe so we can continue to grow the community. And that is it. So it's just a joy for me to be here today. I'm going to jump right in. But if you want to choose based on crystals and skip the pile picking, you can do that by going to the description, or I also place it in the comments. And you'll choose pile 1 will be the green Aventurine. Pile 2 will be the Lapis Lazuli. And these are all raw. You know, we kind of want to dig into our rawness today and figure out what's causing us to feel nothing or feel low, a low vibration. And the third pile will be the Citrine. So pile 1, the green Aventurine, pile 2, the Lapis Lazuli, and pile 3, the Citrine. You can go to the time stats and go directly to your pile, or you can stay on, and I am now going to go into this pretty extensive pile picking, okay? So bear with me. I'm going to start with some oracle cards, and let us begin. So, Spirit, for pile 1, what of these, of these oracle cards do we need? So it looks like this is going to be pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. Okay, the second set of oracles is... This is all for the third part of the reading, where we're going to be looking for guidance from Spirit, okay? So, Spirit, what guidance do you have for pile number 1? What guidance do you have for pile number 1 to alleviate this feeling of numbness and come back to self? What guidance do you have for pile number 1? Looks like that's going to be 1. And for pile number 2, looks like it's going to be this one right here where it fell. Okay, and then for pile number 3, looks like it's that right there. Okay, so those are going to be the oracle cards for that third part of the reading. Now we're going to pull 2 tarot from the Light Seers deck for this question of, what is the guidance? What is the guidance from our elevated spirits? What is the guidance from our elevated spirits and ancestors? It's that smaller deck. Okay. So for pile 1, Spirit, we need 2 tarot to help us be able to see the story, understand what guidance that you have. So that's going to be 1. It looks like that's going to be 2. And for pile number 2, like that's going to be 1. And for pile number 2, I'm feeling like it's this one. It's going to be 2. And pile number 3. There's 1. And pile number 3. Number 3. I hope, got a lot there. Okay. I hope everybody's having a joyful day. This is pile number 3. Okay, it's tarot for the second part. So now we're going into pulling. That was pulled for the third part. Now we're pulling the oracle for the second part. So Spirit, this is in question to how can we increase our joy? What can we do to increase our joy for pile number 1? Going to be 1. And for pile number 2, going to be 2. And for pile number 3, oops. Oopsie. Okay. And then again, we're asking that question, just clarity on how can we increase our joy? How can we increase our joy? Can we increase our joy? Looks like that's going to be 1. Can we increase our joy? And 2. And then for pile number 3. There we go. All right. And then for increasing our joy, we're going to pull 3 of the Awaken Tarot to help give us the story of what elements do we need to bring into increasing our joy. There's 1. Oops. Looks like that's 2. And we'll increase our joy. It's too many there. Increase our joy for pile number 1. There's 3. And for pile number 2, how do we increase our joy for pile number 2? Number 2. Looks like that's going to be 1, 2, and we'll pull 1 more. Number 2. And for pile number 3, investigating Spirit, how can we increase our joy? How can we increase our joy? Move out of the space of numbness. That's 2, and then we need 1 more. 1 more. Okay. All right, and then we're going to pull, just for this top layer of investigating, what is it? What is it that is causing this feeling of numbness? What is it that we may not be wanting to feel? For pile number 1, pile number 2, and, whoops, looks like that's pile number 3. There it is. All right, and then for the tarot, we're going to pull from the Muse Tarot for the what is causing the numbness. So what is causing the numbness? For pile number 1, Spirit, what is causing the numbness? We've got 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3. And then for pile number 2, what is causing the numbness? 1. What's causing the numbness? For pile number 2, 2, 3. And for pile number 3, 1, number 3, number 3, pile number 3. It's causing the numbness. Oops. Oh, that's 1 too. All right. And then finally, this will hopefully we'll pull from the chakra to help give us any of the chakras that might be useful to work with, during this time of numbness. And if you work with a certain one, this one keeps popping back up, so I'm going to go to this one. This 1. If you work with any of these, whatever comes up here, pile number 2, like it's that one. Okay. And then pile number 3. Looks like it's that one. All right. All right. So that is going to be our hefty pile picking for this reading, in-depth reading, to kind of investigate what is causing the numbness. How can we increase our overall joy? So this will be pile number 1 with the green Aventurine. Quite a few cards here. And for pile number 2, with the Lapis Lazuli. And for pile number 3, with the yellow, or the citrine, not the yellow citrine, the citrine crystal. Okay, that's pile number 3. So those are going to be our piles. Beautiful souls, please go ahead and go to the timestamps and pick your pile. Because of the nature of this reading, you may find that you are pulled to more than one of the readings. And if that's so, feel free to jump to whatever reading is calling you. Okay, so these are going to be the readings, and I will see you in your readings. Thank you so much for joining the Abundant Joy Tarot, and I ask you to just like, share, and subscribe. See you in the reading. Bye-bye. Hello, pile number 1. All right, so we're going to dig into this in-depth reading that we've got here with all these cards. We're talking about I'm numb. How do I increase my joy, and what is the guidance from Spirit and my elevated spirits and ancestors? Okay, so that's what we're digging in here today. It's going to be sort of 3 sections here that we're doing. We're going to start with looking at what is causing this numbness. What feelings are we maybe trying to hide from? Okay, so that's the first thing that we're going to look at, and then we're going to dig into getting to look at what can increase your joy and what is the guidance from Spirit. So first of all, I just want to thank you again for joining Abundant Joy Tarot. This is Ade, and let's get into it. If you're enjoying the readings that you're getting, if you could please like, share, and subscribe so we can grow this community. Pile number 1, you have chosen the green Aventurine, and let's get into it. So I pulled a chakra card for you to see if there is an area of your chakras that you could be working on to support. And what you've got is the third eye chakra, and it says destiny. Follow your instincts. They lead to the truth. Okay, so remember when we're talking about feeling numb or having a sense of numbness, sort of a stagnant place in which we're existing, right? There's an underlying cause of that. And so there may be some way in which you are kind of using the numbness as a bit of a blindfold, if you will. And just so you know, I should probably say, I don't know if this is going to be triggering or not. We're going to see what happens, but I will read the cards as honestly as I see them. And so whatever it is what it is, but hopefully if you've turned into this reading, it's because you're wanting to kind of get more information to move yourself forward, to stay on track with your soul journey. So that's what it is. So I say that to say that you may have put a blindfold on yourself so that you're not looking at the situation as truthfully as you need to be looking at the situation. Okay, that's the first thing that I get from this card of follow your instincts. They lead to the truth. The other thing is the third eye is going to be dipping into your intuition, making sure that you're listening to and looking at the clues and signs in your life around this situation that you might be dealing with. All right, so let's dig in and see what the tarot is giving us in regards to this situation. So we pulled 2 oracle cards and 3 tarot to understand what is causing the numbness. So the tarot that you have is the wheel. Okay, all right. So we're going to talk about, I'm going to put them down and we'll talk about it. So this is the wheel. You got the 3 of emotions, which is the 3 of cups for this deck. Okay. And your other tarot is going to be the 4 of emotions, which is also the 4 of cups for this deck. Okay. Really interesting card here. Okay. And then your oracle cards, you've got the spark of hustle, and I'll talk about what that means in this context of what we're looking at, because we're investigating what is causing this numbness. And then you've got you are living poetry. Okay. All right. So let's dig in and talk about this a little bit. So you've got the 10, the wheel. Okay, which is the 10 in the major arcana. And the thing about the wheel is that the wheel denotes change. So this is telling me very clearly that whatever is going on in your world, you may be experiencing some change, some things shifting in your world. The world card often talks, I'm sorry, not the world, the wheel card often talks about things turning, right? So things are turning. They can be turning in a positive direction or they can be turning in a difficult direction, okay? Things are constantly in movement. achievement, right? But the thing about it is that we as humans really suffer when it comes to change, whether that change is a positive change, maybe something we wished for, we've prayed for, we've longed for, and it comes into our life, but it's a change and it just takes adjustment and it can be hard. And so sometimes instead of feeling those feelings, you might find yourself in a place of numbness. So that actually makes a lot of sense for what this reading is. But let's see what these other cards, because this card here, this Three of Emotions, is talking about connected hearts in some way, often denotes like friendship or a community of some kind. It could be familiar, like could be family, right? But these three entities here are connected through hearts, right? There's a heart feeling here. So it gives me the understanding or the idea here that because you've got the wheel and you've got this Three of Emotions, is that there's something possibly going on, some sort of change that's happening with you and your loved ones, whether that be your family unit, it could be a partner, it could denote a third party situation. So there might be things changing if it's in a relationship and you're in a third party relationship. Because this is a general reading, this could be talking about a lot of different situations. But in general, I think probably the majority of you are dealing with some sort of change that is affecting either your family or the people that are closest to you, like your friends or your community in some way. Now that change could be a change caused by you, or it could be caused by within your community in some way. So it could be a move that's happening within that connection of connected hearts. It could be a move that's happening. It could be a change in job, a change in location, a change in feeling. There could be something that has to do with, because I'm kind of going back to this idea of follow your instincts, they lead to the truth. And the other thing that I'm seeing here is for the Four of Emotions, it's really making me think that you could be dealing with a scenario in which something has been revealed, or you have discovered something or understand something different in your family unit or in your close friend unit, in the people that you feel connected with. Also, there's this sense in this card, I don't know if you all can see that clearly, hopefully you can, that there's two people here and they're continuing to share this connection, and this third person is feeling sort of left out, right? Because the Four of Emotions or Four of Cups in this situation can often speak of feeling left out, a sense of apathy, a sense of, what's the use kind of feeling, like, what's the point of like trying to move forward, okay? But she clearly feels like she's on the outs here. She's not in the sense of the connection. So that might be causing this numbness of just not wanting to look directly at what, honestly, because of this card that I'm seeing here, you probably already know. In your gut, okay? In your gut and in your sense of intuition, something has been revealed to you. And it's very difficult, okay? And I'm sorry for that, pile number one. But we need to understand that as with the wheel, things are constantly in motion. So things can change in both the positive and negative way. And as we look at more of the cards, I'm hoping that it will show me more of the story of what this change can entail for you. Because sometimes when something is a change, like I said, it can be either good or bad in terms of the change. Sometimes just the change coming in swiftly can be part of the issue. But any shift in the way that we're moving, anything within our material plane or in our emotional space that is a change, is going to cause feelings to come up, okay? Now, the other thing that this particular card, like the Spark of the Hustle, this card is really speaking to overwork, okay? It really speaks to a busyness that is beyond just the busyness, all right? If because of the context of this situation that we're digging into, what is actually causing the numbness, okay, it's really talking about hustling too hard, getting lost in the grind, workaholic tendencies, okay? So you may be finding yourself in a situation where you've just worked yourself to the bone, right? And you're just in the daily grind. And what that can do is cause you to numb out, because you just feel like you just got to keep going. You just got to keep going to do whatever it is that you're achieving. So again, we're still just looking at the situation. We'll begin to look at solutions here. The other thing is you are poetry. This card is really talking about your voice. All right. This card is really talking about a need to show up in your full authentic self. Okay. It lets me know that part of what's causing this numbing is that there's a way in which you're turning down your brilliance. There's a way in which you're hiding your light under a bushel. There's a way in which you're hiding your actual truth and shying away from expressing yourself fully. Okay. And so because we've started here with follow your instincts, they lead to the truth. This card is really saying in some way, you're not really showing up in your truth. And hey guys, that's a part of the process. Sometimes it's difficult. It feels like it's a challenge to really stand into wholly who we are, to speak what we know to be true for ourselves, okay? But this card is telling me that that action, by not taking action, by not stepping fully into who you are authentically and expressing yourself, you're pushing down emotions which are causing this feeling of numbness, all right? That's what this pile is going to be looking at. If that doesn't seem relevant to your situation, you might want to check out another pile because there might be a different scenario in which they're dealing with. But what I'm really seeing here is you've got some change going on in your world. You've got something specifically changed that may be going on within hearts that you're connected to, whether they be familiar, relationship-wise, children, whatever it might be, however it is that you're connected, there's some sort of change that's going on there. And you have a feeling of sort of being worn down, feeling apathetic, or feeling left out of the connection in some way, okay? And you're overworking in some way. It could be in relationship to the actual situation, or it could be just in your daily life, and you're not expressing your real truth. Now let's dig in to see, what do you need to do to inspire or bring back more joy into your life, okay? So we're going to go into the next phase of the reading here. All right, and the tarot that we have for that piece of it, you've got the Ace of Pentacles, okay, beginnings, okay. Yeah, I'm really feeling like you may be going through a change, and what you're looking at it with a certain lens. The other thing about the Wheel card is there's something about changing your perspective. In order for you to find your joy again, to step fully into that emotion of what's really happening for you, aside from following your intuition, you're going to need to change your perspective and look at the newness of the situation. Because this is a brilliant card. Let's see what the rest of the cards are before I dig too deep. Okay, the Hermit, okay, introspection, perception. Your star is right there in front of you, okay, but you're going to need to do some introspection. And then the Ace of Swords. So you've got your introspection flanked by two beginnings. The Ace also represent new beginnings of some kind, and a new thrust of energy in some ways, okay? And you've got the Pentacles and you've got the Swords. So and then you've got the Clover, okay? In the Oracle card for the Clover is talking about a gentle strength. It says very clearly that you have more power in this situation than you think that you do. The gentle Clover is a very small, beautiful flower, but it sits and understands its own beauty, okay? And it sits amongst a field of flowers, right? And it may seem small in comparison to them, but it knows its own beauty and it sits in its own strength, and it magnetizes the things that it needs to magnetize to it. So all of those things are qualities that will help to bring about your joy. But let's talk about this a little bit further. So when we talk about this idea of the aces, right? So aces are new beginnings. And so what I'm really getting is this sense of the world shifting, change happening, something happening within this unit of connected hearts, right? And what you may be focusing on, which has caused your numbness, is the change itself, the hardness, the difficulty of the change, pulling away the law. There's a loss in change because you're having to let go of something to move into something new, right? But the Ace of Pentacles, now this is talking about, oftentimes it talks about a windfall of some kind of material abundance coming into your world, because the Pentacles talks about wealth. It talks about your foundations, right? So something new is coming into your foundation. And I feel like what's going to bring back your joy is to lean into the newness and the excitement of the newness and cultivating what that newness is into your life, because this is a very positive card, y'all. So it's definitely talking about bringing in a sense of abundance and joy. Now, it may be time for you to take some introspection, right? The Hermit has everything that it needs, okay? It has the light surrounding it. It's a beautiful energy, but it talks about that introspection is your way to light, okay? So it may be that even as you're sitting in your numbness, I really got this very strong sense of like turning that time in your numbness, this time of sitting alone in your Four of Cups, right? You may be feeling out of place or out of sorts, okay? Turn that into an active introspection, meaning if you practice meditation, set your intention on a particular thought process. And it might be for you in this reading, how do I embrace the newness in my life? What is the newness that can bring me joy? Focus on that in your meditation and in your thought process. Allow yourself to sit and breathe in the newness of your life. All right. Allow the ideas to come forward, because this talks about the Ace of Swords is talking about new ideas, new thoughts. Okay. And so it's really saying that there's a new idea, a new beginning that is really going to lead you to success. Okay. So in your introspection, you should be meditating on or thinking about, how do I embrace the newness in my life so that you can really settle in to the joy that you want to increase? Allow yourself to feel the feelings in your introspection. Go back to what you know to be truth. The other thing about this Ace of Swords, because it talks about ideas and thoughts, this can be the outcome of what is led to you by your truth. It's almost to me like, like that metaphorical light bulb coming on, right? Where you're sitting in your meditation and then it's like, ding, now I understand what I need to understand. And it's talking about embracing that truth, All right. So that is what is the components to bringing your joy. And let's dig in a little bit further. So now we're going to kind of go into continuing to look at what can bring your joy, because we're going to look at your Enchanted Map Oracle, and then we're going to dig into specifically what is Spirit's guidance. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. So again, there's really this sense of jumping into the newness. Y'all, look at this card. So you got the Field of Dreams. All right. And we're asking the question of, how can I bring in more joy? How can I move out of this space of numbness and into a space of joy? And you've got this Field of Dreams where they're sitting on all of these eggs, big and small eggs, right? You're in a fertile ground. It really shows me that the world here is turning in the direction of creating new abundance, new ideas, new projects, new relationships and connections for you. Okay. And mind you, that can be very scary. And it can cause some of us to kind of go into a turtle shell, which is in a sense what numbness is. Okay. Going into a turtle shell. But it's encouraging you to really lean into these new ideas, lean into what can be birthed from these beautiful eggs, and understand that there is magic at work in your situation, okay? There is magic at work. So let's see what your guidance is from Spirit here. This is a very strong reading. You've already got one major arcana here. So let's see our messages from Spirit. So you've got the Moon, which is another major arcana card. Okay. And the Emperor. Wonderful. Okay, so, and this is also a major arcana. So the two messages from the tarot from your spirit guides are very strong. And to me, this is saying that you are directly on your path. You are directly where you need to be. And let's talk about what the moon is and what the emperor is. And it's interesting where they're following. So the moon is talking about your intuition. Okay. It can also talk about illusions or hidden truths, if you will. So there may be some things that it kind of goes back to this idea that you may be uncovering some things. You may have uncovered some things that you didn't know about before, okay? And it may have caused some conflict, some emotional stirring in you, some things that you're not wanting to look at. But you've got your light and your shadow coming together here and reaching out to the moon. The moon is shining light on those hidden spaces not only within you, but within this situation. But the guidance here is really to tap into your intuition. Allow yourself to take off the blindfold and look at the hidden truths of this situation. Lean into the newness, okay? Follow your instincts. That will lead you to your destiny. Your first card is destiny. Follow your instincts. They lead to the truth. There's something about your third eye chakra here that you can really be working with to help you to better be able to navigate yourself out of this space of feeling numb. Now, this card, the Emperor card, is a beautiful card because the Emperor is a powerful figure. Not only does he embody power, right? He also embodies creativity, but a sense of stability and wealth and fortune, okay? The Emperor talks about strategy, okay? So it may be that you also need to, as you're tapping into your intuition, because it's interesting that it fell right on the Ace of Swords here. So you've got a new beginning of new ideas, and it's almost a sense of like, you need to get some introspection. You need to dig into your emotions, tap in and listen to your intuition so that you can step fully into your power, so that you can and the other thing about the Emperor is that the Emperor steps into his power by taking action. So that tells me that what you come up with in your introspection, the ideas that come forth, the ideas that are top of mind, the new projects, the thought, I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to say, but the thoughts or the ideas or new projects that come to mind, you need to take action on that. That action is going to bring you out of your numbness and into your place of joy. Focus on that rather than focus on what seems to be missing or connections that you seem to feel left out of. Do not focus on that. Focus on the power that you hold from the Clover card, which is talking about you having a gentle strength and having more power in the situation than you believe that you do. And I believe that power, you all, is going to come from you taking action. Okay, that is what I'm seeing here. Now let's look at your final two cards from your guides and ancestors. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so you've got the Eagle Spirit, and it literally says on the card, Spirit has your back. Spirit has your back, y'all. That's beautiful. So, there's really a sense that you can step fully into whatever it is that you need to feel and take the action that you need to take. Because the Eagle Spirit is here to tell you that if you're feeling like you're walking awkwardly or you're feeling embarrassed about a situation, that's only because you are meant to fly. Soar over the troubles that have you feeling scared and alone. You need to see the big picture. Go ahead and keep your eagle eye on the detail, right? But claim your wisdom and courage. Or maybe you're feeling small in some way. All right? Not showing up, as we said here, not stepping fully into your authentic power. Maybe you're feeling like you're vulnerable, But this is not the time to fall into a place of dependency or vulnerability. You don't need to do that at this time. Your spirit guides are with you 100%. You have the power. This is a very powerful reading in terms of how the wheel is turning to you. It's turning to bring you abundance. It's turning to have you step fully into your power and bring forth new, successful ideas, okay? So the eagle spirit says you have tremendous wisdom and courage within. So let it arise so that you might soar proudly with the angels, serving as the wind beneath your wings. That's beautiful because spirit has your back. And then this beautiful card is the Wild Rose Fairy, and it talks about love of all kind coming full force into your world. Unconditional love, familiar love, relationship love. It is just all about love. And so because we're asking for guidance from spirit, I feel like this card is saying, embrace the love around you. Embrace the not only the physical 3D love that is around you, i.e., the familiar love, the friends that are around you that you still feel connected with, right? But also that spirit is loving on you deeply and has an unconditional love for you. You will be able to move through this space. Embrace your emotions, embrace your intuition, and focus your attention on the beautiful newness that's coming into your lives, you all. This is the reading that I have for you today. Beautiful souls who chose pile number 1. If you're liking the readings that you're receiving from the Abundant Joy Tarot, please like, share the channel information, and subscribe, because I'd love to have you join the community. I hope that this gives you the guidance that you need to begin to move yourself out of a place of numbness and stuckness and that much closer to your joy. I hope you have a joyful, abundant day, and I'll see you in the next reading. Bye. Hello, pile number 2. And welcome back to the Abundant Joy Tarot. If you have chose the Lapis Lazuli, this is going to be your reading. And just a reminder, we are digging into this feeling of numbness. It's I'm numb. How can I increase my joy? And what is the guidance from my elevated guides and ancestors? So that's what we're digging into here. We're doing a little bit of a 3-part reading. So the first part will be sort of a significator for you to talk about what has caused the numbness. What are the feelings that we may be trying to hide from? Because numbness is really, in itself, I know it is the lack of feeling, but it actually is a feeling. The lack of feeling is the feeling that is covering other feelings. Okay, that's what numbness really is. And so we're kind of look at what that is first. And then we're going to, and then you can see there, is this kind of resonant to your situation? Does it make sense for you? If not, you might want to choose one of the other piles. Okay. And then we will dig into what can increase your joy. And then we will flow into what is the guidance from spirit for you to help you increase your joy. So that's what we're doing. If you are liking the readings you're getting from Abundant Joy Tarot, please like, share, and subscribe so we can grow the community here. I would greatly appreciate it. And let's get into your reading. Okay. So I pulled chakra cards. So this is from the Love Oracle. Chakra Love Oracle. Okay, so you've got the crown chakra. So this is something to be mindful. This might be that with the crown chakra, this is about kind of your thoughts. I feel like this group may have some heavy thoughts going on in their head, sort of maybe spinning a little bit out. Well, actually, look at this. So it says calmness. To calm your monkey mind, do not feed the animal. So that's kind of confirmation of what I was thinking when I saw the crown chakra, which is, it seems that this group may have a bunch of thoughts going on in their head that's causing them to sort of almost, I want to say cross circuit or your circuitry to kind of explode on you. Like there's just so much going on in your world and in your mind, and maybe even a little bit of anxiety going on right there that's causing you all to kind of burn out, right? Like your mind to burn out, which would definitely cause a sense of numbness. But let's dig into what the Tarot says around what is causing the numbness. But we'll come back to that because that might, at least in the first pile, that became sort of a theme of what was going on, what was happening. Their card was different, but in a different chakra too. But let's look at your Tarot in terms of looking at what is causing the numbness. So you've got the Ace of Voices, which in this deck is going to be the Ace of Swords, okay, which has to do with your thoughts. So that is making sense, and we'll dig into that. And then you've got the Two of Pentacles, okay, or Two of Materials in this deck. It's the Two of Pentacles in the classic Tarot. All right. And then you've got the Emperor. Okay, interesting. So you've got the Emperor, and then this is the Oracle card to look at the situation, and you've got Feed Your Artist. Interesting. Okay. This also is talking about a mindset. So we'll dig into that. So in talking about this Ace of Voices, so what I'm generally seeing here is, so the Ace of Voices is like a spark of an idea, a new venture. It's almost like you all have a project, something that you're working on. It could be this feels very much like it could be work related, just as we're thinking about it. Significator. Let me see. There may be some other situations that it could apply to, because this is a general reading. So you have to take what it is, what resonates for you, and leave the rest. But for a lot of you, I feel like this situation has to do with some type of idea that you have that actually will bring you success. It could be a creative project. It could be a work endeavor, which can also be a creative project, but something that has to do with your ideas, some idea that you're trying to move forward in some type of way. And it's interesting here because we've got these sort of these prayer, I'm forgetting what they're called, but I believe it's Buddhist, where they hang the prayer sheets, or the prayer, I'm forgetting what they're called. I apologize. But they hang here until they basically disintegrate, right? So that leads me to believe that there's an idea that you have that's actually can lead you to success, but it may take some time for that idea to come to fruition. So you may have either been in it for a minute, or it's going to take you a while to get that idea to completion, right? To fruition. You're at the beginning of the process, all right? Aces always represent sort of a beginning, but it also, in this situation, could be that you could have already had the idea, but it's like, this is telling me what is causing the numbness. So you could have had an idea, and now you're in this space because the Two of Pentacles talks about balancing things, a need to balance things. It can also talk about financial difficulties. It can talk about just feeling overburdened, like there's just too much going on in the world that you're trying to balance everything and get your feet on the ground. She's got kind of one foot off the ground. She's got these two roses that she's kind of juggling with, and there's other things that are out there that she has to deal with as well that she can't even really get to because she's got her hands full. Okay. And so it just really gives me the sense that whatever this idea is, whatever this project is that you're moving forward with, that you might be gotten into a space where your mind has kind of like over circuited or burnt out, and that you, because of all that you're having to juggle to move things forward. And then you've got the Emperor here. Now the Emperor is actually a very wonderful energy. It's actually very powerful, kind of a divine masculine type energy, male or female, you guys, but just divine masculine. And it talks about power, but it also talks about strategy. Okay. Now it's interesting here because in this deck, I love this deck because it's so creative in its interpretation of the Tarot, but it's really just talking about power, right? The Emperor really talks about power. It talks about taking action, but taking strategic action. Okay. And so there's a sense of like, a need for you to put in more strategy in what you're doing. And so that might be the cause of your mind meltdown, if you will, because it sort of feels like the reason for the numbness is that you're trying to put all of the pieces together. You're trying to put together the daily task, what your strategy, overall strategy arching needs to be. If you don't have a strategy, this just popped into my head. If you don't have a strategy, then that's one of the things that you need to do. You need to stop and get your strategy, okay, to help formulate this idea. That's one of the things you need to do. But if you do have a strategy, you could be in a place where you've got the strategy, you've got the day-to-day tasks, you've got the financial issues, you've got the housing issues, i.e. it could be a housing for your business or material issues of some kind, right? Placement issues, a need to move issues, or, any multiple issues that are surrounding this idea and putting this idea out into the world, okay? All of those things are juggling you to the point where it's like, exhaustion, right? Overwork, exhaustion. You also may be putting an undue amount of judgment on yourself, because this card right here, it talks about feed the artist, but when it is talking about self-care, which is how we're using it here, it talks about a lot of self-judgment and harsh criticism and expectations of yourself. It talks about over-scheduling tasks. So you have so much to do that you can't get it all done, right? You're not valuing your talent and your craft. Oftentimes what occurs when you have an idea is you feel like, I need to get this all done myself. And so whereas you were the brilliant idea conceiver, you maybe at one part of that idea would be the expert at it, but as you begin to put it out into the world, you kind of need some other experts. You might not be an expert at marketing. You might not be an expert at managing the finances, if that's an issue that's going on here. You might not be an expert at scheduling all of the things that are coming in for you to do. And so it's going to be important for you to look at your strategy and figure out how you can mend that, instead of having a really harsh judgment on yourself for not being able to get the things done that you need to get done. Okay. So this is the situation here that we're seeing that's causing this numbness that we're dealing with. So we're trying to get at it. So if this situation feels familiar to you, then this is probably your pile. If it's not feeling familiar to you in some way, then you might want to check out one of the other piles. Okay. It might not be your reading, but I do feel like that this situation can apply to different kinds of scenarios. I feel like the majority of you are really dealing with some type of work situation or creative idea in which you're trying to move something forward into fruition, and you found yourself in a place where you've got multiple priorities, things that you're trying to juggle that are feeling a little bit out of control, and trying to manage the strategy with the day-to-day task. Okay. That can also show up in other situations, whether it be connections with someone else. It could be, within partnership, that it's sort of a new idea about what the partnership needs to look like. But in general, I feel like the majority of you are really dealing with kind of more of a work situation. So that's what I'm going to kind of speak to as we go through this reading. All right. That being said, let's look at how we can increase your joy. Okay. What can we do to increase your joy? And so we're going to look at your tarot around this. So we'll also look at some oracles, but okay. You've got the Star card. I had to cover some of the cards in this deck because of YouTube rules, just FYI. But this is the Star card, and it talks about healing. It talks about self-healing, time of replenishment, self-love, okay? So that, I think, makes a lot of sense to counteract some of the harsh judgment that you may be putting on yourself for not getting the things done in the way that you think that they need to be done in some way, okay? You also have the Wheel of Fortune, okay? Beautiful. And the Sun. You got the Sun card, and the Sun card is one of the most joyful cards in the deck. And we're talking about bringing in your joy. What do you need to do to bring in your joy? Okay. And now your Oracle card is the Yarrow. So I'm going to speak a bit about how you might be able to leverage the yarrow as an herb to, it also talks about protection. Okay, so let's dig into thinking about your joy. So the Star card very clearly talks about this idea of self-love, healing, okay? So I'm feeling like the healing that you all need to do right here kind of has to do with your own harsh judgment. Now, there may be an emperor type energy in your space that is very strategic about their thinking, very forthright in their thinking, may have a different way of approaching things. So say, for instance, if you are more of a creative spirit, they might be very mind-centered, or you might be very intellect-centered, and they are more creative in their approach. So there may be some conflicts there. That's just coming up into my head right now. But that's not the only scenario. In general, I think that this self-healing is coming from your thought process because, again, we go back to calmness, the need to calm your monkey mind. You don't want to feed the animal. So it's like you are continually coming up with maybe new ways to deal with the idea, to deal with the inspiration. And the star card is saying, the blessing that is bestowed upon those who choose to follow their true north. So, and it's falling right here with that ace of voices, which is that idea that's coming forth. So it's really a reminder to you too, that this idea is going to bring you joy. You just need to continue to follow the direction in which your gut is telling you to move, okay? Let go of the past and begin something fresh. Trust your intuition, follow your heart. The universe is conspiring in your favor. Everything happens for a reason, and this is your time to shine. So keep your head up and stay positive. So even if you feel like on this journey, things may have gotten a little bit conflicted. You might be feeling like this is a lot harder than I thought it was. The money's not happening the way I needed to happen, etc., etc. This is an encouragement to say, follow your head, follow your gut, follow your true north. You're moving in the right direction. The other thing that's very clear for me, because you've got 3 major arcana here, and so that tells me that you are on your path, okay? You're on your soul's path. So you're in the right place, I guess, is really what it's saying. And really in a possible beautiful place. Now, the Wheel of Fortune lets us know that change is a constant, right? Things are always going to be changing. So the good news about the Wheel of Fortune is that if you've been feeling like you're struggling, if you've been feeling like you've been dealing with some financial issues or anything, the Wheel of Fortune, because in this deck, it's particularly the Wheel of Fortune. It's not just the wheel, right? It is talking about the wheel turning in the direction of your favor, turning in your favor. And so that's wonderful. Okay. So ride the wheel, if you will, is what I think the guidance is, and for you to be able to find your joy. Ride the wheel into your fortune. Okay. Love on yourself a bit more. Be gentle with yourself. Allow yourself some calmness to be able to infuse this energy that is coming forward for you. Let me see what this other oracle card is. Interesting, because I was just thinking, okay, so you got dry desert, okay? Okay, I'm going to talk about this in the Yarrow card, but it's interesting that it's saying here, because what I was thinking, what was coming to my head in terms of this Wheel of Fortune, sort of riding the Wheel of Fortune, is understand that you are exactly where you need to be. So even if things are looking dry, if you will, is what the desert is saying, that you are planted where you need to be planted. And it's just that there may be some things that are yet for you to discover and to learn that you will be able to use. But the nuggets that you find in the space that you're in right now, whatever difficulty you may be going, understand, look at what is the underlying lesson. What do you need to learn from the situation to move on to the next space, okay? Consider that within the desert, the creatures that are there have to be adaptable. So it may be that where you are, you're going to need to adapt your vision, if you will, adapt the idea a bit so that you continue to ride your fortune, okay? Because this is saying very clearly, go deep within, find your truth there. Let spirit sustain you while you locate the real source. When you're in the desert, you got to look for that source of water. In order to find that source of water in the desert, you got to go in deep. okay? So it may be that in order to find your joy, you may have to dig in a little bit deeper than where you had been going with your idea. But whatever it is that you've been working on, I am really getting the sense of redirection. You may need to try on a new perspective, is what is coming heavy to mind from me. As the wheel is shifting in your direction, make sure you're looking at it with fresh eyes, okay? Because you've got the Sun card, and the Sun card is all about joy and happiness and youthful, kind of youthful joy, right? So it tells me that, as remember I was saying earlier, that this card has kind of a double meaning for me because it's talking about feed the artist. Now, in the context of this earlier place where we were looking at where what's causing the numbness, right? It talks about judgment. It talks about your harsh judgment of yourself, okay? But in regards to what can bring you joy, it's talking about feed the artist. Now, some of you may or may not be familiar with Julia Cameron's work, The Artist's Way. If you are a creative of any kind, I highly recommend that book. But if you are familiar with her, whether or not you are, there's one thing she talks about in there that's called the artist date, okay? And it really is just talking about taking yourself as a creative, taking yourself on a date, right? Taking yourself to a place that will inspire you in some way, whether it be to a museum or to go listen to music or to go sit in the park or go swing on a child's swing. Do something that brings your inner child joy and excitement and ignites the fire with you again. Take yourself on a date. It could be that you go to some fancy restaurant where you dress up yourself and go on that date, okay? But there's something about that energy of pulling yourself into what excites your inner child that is going to help replenish your energy, right? And break out of that numbness so that you can begin to refocus on this idea that's going to be bringing you so much abundance in your life, okay? There is also a need for you to be mindful of protection because you've got Yarrow here. And Yarrow here, notice he has a big shield. So there's a sense of you needing to have protection. The other thing is the Yarrow flower. For any of you all who like to take baths, the Yarrow flower is the essential essence of the Yarrow flower. If you can look at homeopathic remedies or essential oils, and you can drop those into a bath, okay? Or if you make spiritual baths where you pray over your baths, you can put in some yarrow flower or put in some yarrow essence and put that into your bath, and it will provide a sense of protection and a sense of calm. Okay, so that's a medicine or a remedy, if you will, for you that you can use during this time. All right. So that is what can begin to bring you joy. But overall, what it's saying, you all, is that this idea is going to bring you joy. Okay, this will bring you joy. But what you need to do is remember to be adaptable and flexible. Remember to provide protection for yourself. Now let's look at the guidance from Spirit. I feel like there's something else here about protection that we need to think about. It may be about protecting your thoughts around the harsh judgment, or just not judging yourself as harsh as you may have been judging yourself. Let's see what the guidance is from Spirit, and we'll go from there. So your tarot from Spirit, you've got the Three of Wands, okay, and the Ace of Swords. So wow, so you got the Ace of Voices, which is the Ace of Swords, okay, as beginning, and then you've got the Ace of Swords as really your ending. So, and this is coming from Spirit. So this is telling me that they are telling you that this idea has got legs, you all. This idea is something that's and it's really interesting because if you look at these two cards, this is the beginning, and notice the direction. Look at the direction that they're looking at. Wow. There's really a sense of moving away from looking at your past and looking at the future. But this idea has legs to move you into the future, y'all. That's beautiful. Really, really interesting. Yeah, this idea, it's just that it may need some adaptability. You may need to flex it a little bit, but this idea has got legs and it's going to move you forward. The other thing is you've got this Three of Wands here, and the Three of Wands is about taking action. It's taking action on the next leg. She's kind of waiting here for the tide to roll in or the ship to come in or whatever it may be. But it's almost like you all need to be at the what's it called? Like the runner's mark or something, like where you're in the stance. You know, you're bent down, you're ready to go, you're waiting for that bullet to go off. So bomb, when it hits, you can take off running with whatever your next step is on this journey to bring that idea into fruition. Spirit is right there with you at the runner's block, you all, or runner's mark. I'm sorry if I'm saying it right. The starting point, right? The spirit is right there, bent down with you, ready, listening, paying attention to figure out what the next move is that you're going to need to make. Beautiful. This idea has legs, you all. It has legs. You just need to be flexible around it. And it will, if you lean into the energy and the passion of this idea, it's going to pull you right out of your numbness, okay? Let go of the overwhelm of, oh, I've got to do this and I've got to do that. Remember that there are resources available, that spirit is there with you. Let's look at your final cards. So you've got the Parrot, Spirit, Interest. Watch your words. So again, it's kind of going, that's what I was picking up on, is this need to really think about your thoughts and what's coming in, what words you're saying to yourself and others, and generosity. And to me, this is really talking about being generous, not only to yourself, but also being generous to others as well. But there is a sense of generosity that we need to bring into this energy here, y'all. Okay, so what I'm getting here from Spirit is there's a couple of things that you need to be mindful. First of all, you need to know, get on your mark, okay? Get on your mark. Spirit is wanting you to get ready to take off, to move forward with this idea that you've got, because this idea has legs and it's going to bring you joy and happiness and abundance. And the fortunes are moving in your direction. So make sure you're ready so you don't have to get ready, as they say. Be ready so you don't have to get ready. The other thing that Spirit, I think, is very clearly saying here, because it's kind of gotten repeated here a couple of times, but it's kind of landed fully here with the Parrot Spirit, because this Parrot Spirit is talking about watch your words. And it's talking about this idea of the parrot. The parrot, as you know, sits and listens to its environment around it, and then it mimics it. It mimics what that environment is. So Spirit is asking you, and it's actually felt on top of the Yarrow card, which is about protection. Okay. So I feel like Spirit is saying very clearly, you need to protect your environment, protect your mental, emotional, and physical space. Who are you surrounding yourself with? What are you hearing? Not only what are you hearing externally, but what are you repeating inside yourself? Are there some old patterns of things of people saying, you can't never do that, or this is not something that is really that you can be successful for, or people don't do that, or this is creative, you need to do something more concrete or structurally sound, or whatever it may be. Whatever those little nagging little thoughts that are in there, you need to be mindful and protect your mind space. Okay, that's what the Parrot Spirit is really calling for, is for you to really curate, if you will, your environment. Okay, curate your environment. Be mindful of the beliefs you have internalized. Are they what you choose to believe today? Are you communicating with integrity as well? So this Parrot Spirit wants you to listen to what you say and your motives for saying it. All right. That's a beautiful message from Spirit. It also represents the law of praise. So you are called to speak the truth and speak it with love. And that's not only to yourself, but to the people around you as well. Okay. Beautiful. And then your final card or message from Spirit is the Maple Spirit, which talks about generosity. And again, it talks about generosity from the space of being able to receive as well as to give. Okay. It says, be open to receive the bounty of the universe. At the same time, be generous with others and with yourself. because a warmth of spirit radiates from you. Share from your heart and receive with an open heart, and your success will blossom. Y'all, look at all of that beautiful magic and blossoming that's happening there. So I really believe they are saying your idea will blossom. The struggles that you're having to do right now of balance, you're going to be able to get there. If you need to lean into your strategy, lean into your strategy. But don't allow yourself to be overwhelmed by the day-to-day versus the long-term strategy. Give yourself a space to have self-healing so that you can roll with the reel as it turns in your favor. Get yourself at the mark, be ready to jump off and go, and watch your environment and what you're hearing around you. This is what I see in your reading, you all. It's a very strong reading. It's a very clear reading, very clear messages. You can get out of this place of being numb by taking action toward moving your ideas forward. Your idea is blessed and you are going to be successful, y'all. So go for it. I hope that you have a joyful, abundant day. Thank you so much for joining the Abundant Joy Tarot. This is Ade, and I'll look forward to seeing you in another reading. Please like, share, and subscribe so we can grow the community here. Thanks so much. See you next time. Bye-bye. Hello, pile number 3. Okay, these readings have been really, really, really good. So I hope that they are hitting the people who need to hit them. You have chosen the Citrine, the raw Citrine, and this is your reading. This is for pile number 3. Welcome to the Abundant Joy Tarot. This is Ade, and if you are enjoying the readings you're getting, please like, share, and subscribe so we can grow our community. And today we are digging into this question of, I'm numb. How do I increase the joy in my life? Okay. And then what is the guidance from spirit, my elevated spirits and ancestors? And so we're looking at this reading in 3 parts. And we're going to start by looking at a bit of a significator where we're going to dig into what is causing this feeling of numbness. Okay. Understanding that numbness, although it is the lack of feeling, is actually a feeling itself. And it typically is overlaying some other feeling that we're trying to avoid. So we're trying to get at what that might be. You know, what is the situation? And if it doesn't feel like it resonates with you, then you may want to check out one of the other piles. But that's what we're going to do here first. So first I have your Chakra Love Oracle card, and it may guide us to where in your body this may be happening. So we've got the sacral chakra, and it says journey. To enjoy the journey, let go of the outcome. Okay. So what I felt immediately when I was getting ready to start this reading was the sense of intense feeling. So it may be that I feel like those that are in this pile are my feelers, are, you know, perhaps my, you know, not that everybody doesn't feel, everybody feels, but intense feelers, empaths, intuitives, some kind. I'm not sure, but that's what was the hit that kind of came through for me initially. And that you may be holding on tightly to something, because this says to enjoy the journey, let go of the outcome. So in some way, you may be holding on tightly to some belief, some thought, some feeling. Oftentimes that can occur when you feel like you're getting other information. So other information that's coming to you, not just in the 3D, but, you know, things that you're feeling in a situation and things, you know, and so you're overthinking what you're seeing. Sometimes it's important to dive into the details, and that card may come up here. I don't know. But right now I'm sort of feeling like this group at this point, I think, needs to do some releasing. There's some letting go that needs to happen here. But let's dig in to see what the situation is, and go from there and see what guidance we have. So first, as I said, we're going to look into what is causing this feeling of numbness. And we pulled a couple of cards for that, tarot and one oracle. So the tarot cards that you have are the Eight of Voices, okay? I definitely want to, I'm going to actually read for this one because I want to read what is in this particular book about this, because I think it illustrates the feeling deeply. But this is the Eight of Voices is really about like our own thoughts trapping us, you know, a self-inflicted trap, if you will. So we'll dig into that in just a second. Okay, so you've got the Muse of Emotions. Okay, so in this tarot deck, that is kind of like the King of Cups, but it's the Muse of Emotions. Okay, so that's what that is, and we'll talk about that. And then you've got the Seven of Materials, which is kind of like the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, the Seven of Materials. Okay, very interesting. Okay, so and then oh, look at that. Overthinking can spoil the magic. Okay, we'll look at this one as well, but this is your oracle card for looking at the situation. So it really, like, just in initial feeling of what I'm getting from these cards is that this could actually be multiple situations. It's actually less of a situation per se, although you're in a situation, but it's more of a mindset. So you're those of you who chose this pile number 3, all of you beautiful souls who chose pile number 3, this is about like a mindset that you have right now that has caused your numbness. And it has to do with your overthinking and holding so tightly to the way you think things should be, that you've gotten yourself tied into knots. Okay, that's really what this is saying. So therefore, the situation could be a relationship, it could be a connection of some kind, it could be a familiar relationship, it could be a romantic relationship, it could be a work relationship. This could be an idea that you're dealing with of trying to move something forward. It could be any number of things. It's really about how you are approaching the situation in your mind and in your heart. All right. So that's what it is. But let's dig in so that you can understand a little bit more of what I'm talking about. So I'm going to share this with you because that's what this card represents here. And if this invokes a feeling in you, then this is probably your right pile. Okay. The walls seem to cave in, and the lights are blotted out from the sky, and she finds herself stuck in one spot with no way to move. She always did have the worst luck. As she imagines her prison, her heart begins to beat faster. I can't see, she says out loud, and feels an invisible strap clasp at her wrist. I can't, she calls out again, and another rope anchors her around her arm. She's giving up. I can't. And with every subsequent sob, cry, and scream, the ties multiply. She twists in the bonds of her own imagined hopelessness until the universe whispers gently, "You're not stuck. Look at the options around you." She slows her breathing, and her blindfold falls away. She opens her eyes, watching the sun peek over the mountain behind her, seeing that she was stuck in a web of her own making, always able to leave anytime she wanted to. Okay? That's what the Eight of Voices or Eight of Swords is all about. It's this place that we can go in our minds where we feel trapped by our own surroundings. But the truth is, if we take a moment to breathe, lean into spirit, and find our inner strength and inner support, we find that we're actually not trapped. There is always another way. Okay? There's always another way. So that's the kind of mindset that I think we're dealing with here in this pile. So for pile number 3, okay? And then you've got the Muse of Emotions. And I love this card because it talks about compassion, joy, freedom to feel all of the emotions as a way of self-discovery. And that, kind of reminds me more that, this group may be a deep feeling group. Like you may be having a lot of feelings about the situation that you're dealing with, the things that you're going with right now. Okay, but it's okay to lean into those feelings. Your feelings are a source of support, okay? But you may be at a place that your feelings have begun to, in a sense, overwhelm you, all right? So the Muse of Motions is actually really balanced because it's talking about the balance of these emotions, okay? So you have it within you. You just need to be careful of what's going on in your mind and what you're creating in your mind. Attend awareness of perception, reaction, emotion, empathetic and true. Sensitive wisdom who crosses the sea. The subtle magic of now lies with you, okay? So your task is to simply be true to your heart and accepting of the nature that is, as the healing waters of pure love are headed your way. Okay, so it's telling you that love is coming forward. Okay, but part of the reason why you feel numb right now is you've gotten trapped in your head. You're creating scenarios that are trapping not only your head space, but also your emotional space. And it's wrapped itself around your sacral chakra. Okay, so and that's like your root. So you really need to really let go of what the outcome is. This is really talking about letting go. But that's why you're in this place of stuckness or numbness. It's just a bit of overwhelm. The other thing that's occurring is you've got the Seven of Materials. The Seven of Materials speaks to like the Seven of Pentacles. It's similar to the Seven of Pentacles. And so it talks about you've been progressing along with a relationship, a project, an idea, whatever your situation may be. And there's a need for a pause. Assess your progress, but to persevere, okay? To play the long game, investment. It's talking about manifesting for the future, holding your gratitude and keeping your diligence, all right? That's what the Seven of Pentacles is. But it is certainly a pause, all right? So that can also, if you feel like you've been trudging along, you're really trapped in your head, your emotions are kind of all trapped up in the root, there's like this sense of like panic, screeching halt, okay? Needing to come to a pause because it's causing you to be in a place of numbness, all right? And then, of course, we've got overthinking can spoil the magic. Overthinking can spoil the magic. Now, that card is really right on the nose. There's not a lot more else to say about that, but I'll speak to you about the self-healing part of this, okay? Because that's what we're looking at this deck from in this particular reading. So it talks about, as we've already kind of discussed, the analysis paralysis, okay? It's really saying that you're overthinking things. Fear of making the wrong decision is blocking your movement. You're blocked by your own doubt. You're not trusting your gut. You're worrying about outcomes before you even begin. Okay, so there's a need to pay attention to your intuition, be mindful of obsessive planning and perfectionism, because all of that is causing this stagnation to push yourself into a wall and cause you to have these feelings of numbness. So anyway, that is the significator. That's what's going on here. It's really about a state of mind that's causing this numbness. And what we're seeing here clear is that you have the escape key. You have the escape code to get up out of this. All right, y'all. So let's look at what is going to bring you joy. What can you do to bring you joy? That's what this question was that we asked. What can you actively do? So let's see here. So for your tarot, you've got the Knight of Pentacles. Okay. All right. The Page of Wands. Interesting. And the Ten of Swords. Okay. And then your Oracle card, the Black-Eyed Susan. Okay. So this is about dipping into getting grounded. Okay, but before we get there, let's talk about this Knight of Pentacles. So the Knight of Pentacles is making steady progress. It is in this situation, I feel like it's really saying to you, take it one step at a time. Okay, he is moving toward prosperity and abundance, but he is not rushing in. He has a sense of patience around it. Now, it's interesting, however, because you've got the Knight of Pentacles and then you've got the Page of Swords. And the Page of Swords has this really, the energy of like enthusiasm, almost like more of a fast energy. Pages in general have more of a fast energy, and Page of Wands definitely has a fast energy because the wands represent fire and are more of a fast moving energy as opposed to the pentacles. Okay, so you've got the Knight of Pentacles, which is, I believe, saying take it one step at a time. Okay, to come out of your numbness, you need to just take action, but take it one step at a time. Okay, and then the the Page of Wands is telling you to tap into your innate creativity and curiosity. Okay, to jump into your curiosity and wanting to what it is that you want to explore and move forward. Okay, the Page is a lovely energy because it is moving forward. Both of these are saying, in a sense, that there needs to be a forward movement. Okay, a forward movement to bring you out of this numbness. The Page is full of enthusiasm and curiosity for the world. He's constantly exploring and seeking new adventures. He's never afraid to take risks. That is the main thing that I'm getting from him. So although the Knight of Pentacles may be a little bit more risk assertive, risk, what am I trying to say? Adverse, may be a little more risk averse. This Knight of Pentacles, I think, is saying you need to take it one step at a time. But this Page is also telling you it's okay for you to take some risk because remember, you're dealing with the analysis paralysis, which is causing you not to make movements forward. So the reading is very clearly saying that you, in fact, do need to take movements forward. You can take slow and steady movement, but you got to take movement. You can't just sit there any longer, y'all, because the numbness, in order to break out of that numbness, you've got to shake it up a little bit. And I am suggesting that you also go into your curiosity, because that is going to ignite that fire in you that the wands will bring about. Now, you've also got this Ten of Swords over here, and you might be like, ooh, Ade, that's looking a little rough, because it is looking a little rough. But let me tell you, frankly, you are already here, okay? This is where you are. And the good news about this card showing up here in terms of what you can do is it's telling you to let go. Let go. There is nothing more for you to do here. All you can do is move up, okay? That's all you can do. This card is the end of a cycle. It's the Ten of Swords. So it's the end of a cycle. Some pain, some analysis paralysis, I'm claiming, is going to end for you. And you're going to take movement forward. Now, in order to do that, you're going to need to dip into these black-eyed Susans. Now, you notice here that there's a person, she's in here, but she's embedded into the tree. She is being grounded, okay? She is grounding herself. This is about leaning into that which you believe from the divine, from your ancestors, or Egun being another word for ancestors. It's really talking about really tapping into that connection to transitioned loved ones, okay? That they are there to support you in this time, to pull you out of this space of completion and move you forward in the direction of your dreams and your soul journey. Okay, the answer to your question involves becoming still for a moment and connecting with the ancient and nourishing energies of a loving and beloved earth and ancestors. Okay, imagine the feel of the cool, dark, moist, nutrient-rich earth as though it surrounds and encompasses your entire body. Allow yourself to relax into the feeling of being cradled and caressed. Allow all worries and frenetic thinking to dissolve. Then come into an awareness of your human body. Feel your weight being lovingly held by the ground beneath you. If you detect tension anywhere in your body, allow your slowly deepening breath to move into it and release it. Even if you feel tension or worry, that doesn't dissolve immediately. Smile to it. Say yes to it and allow it to be as it is. Relax and trust that you are perfectly supported in all ways. So this is really about releasing your fears and your worries, allowing yourself to be nurtured and supported. It also talks about nourishing your body, feeding yourself nutrients, substantial foods. Eat grains and root vegetables if you can, okay? Release habits that keep you in an anxious or overly intellectually thinking mindset, okay? Break out of that analysis paralysis. That is your medicine. I really feel like this group needs to take some time to just do some deep breathing, do some meditation, allow the anxiety and the worry to dissipate, okay? Let's see, I meant to pull this other card here. Oh, wonderful. Okay. So this is the Golden Palace. The Golden Palace really harbors good fortune of wealth and abundance, okay? But what is really special about this card is it talks about your abundance also being your true, authentic self, okay? It represents good fortunes, ambitions fulfilled, wealth, and prosperity. But it also indicates emotional fulfillment. You are entering a time of happiness that is long overdue. And the message is about self-worth. Understanding that self-worth is not what you have, no matter how abundant your life is. Instead, it comes from what you are, how authentically you're living your life, and how much love you're willing to share. Now, true, this card is talking about actual material, tangible rewards. It's saying that your abundance is coming for you, okay? Good things are coming, and that is wonderful, okay? But it also says that things come and go. And knowing your true value leads to even greater riches. So share the wealth, okay? But it does talk about good things coming in, okay? Abundance coming in. All right, so this is what you need to look at, the things that you need to do. Take steps one by one. Jump into your curiosity. Step into the fire of your imagination. Let go of those things that no longer serve you, that are causing you internal, emotional, and intellectual conflict. Ground yourself with meditation and leaning into the divine. And let's see what your guidance is from your elevated spirits and Egun. Oh, look at that. The Empress. That's beautiful. Yeah, that you are really about to give birth to a fertile life of abundance, okay? All of these things are coming for you. The Empress is beautiful in all of her divine glory. She is just sensual, sexy. She is abundant. She is generous. She is giving. She is loving. She is just the representation of the divine feminine at the utmost, at the highest, right? And so that is a beautiful message from your guides. Oh my goodness, you've got the sun, okay? So the sun card, look at that joy coming out of that card, okay? So she is really just standing in all of her glory. The sun is one of the most joyful cards of the tarot. It's talking about joy, happiness, abundance, life force, energy. It's just such a good place. And it feels like your guides are really saying, come forward, come out of this place of not feeling, because there's so much goodness to feel. There's so much goodness to feel, y'all. Jump into your creativity and your curiosity. Take action and move yourself forward. Let's look at your final cards here. So you've got the Willow Spirit for flexibility. And one of my favorite cards is Cow Spirit, just because I think it's hilarious because she's got all those flowers on her. But the Cow Spirit talks about the miracles are endless. The Cow Spirit is about trusting, okay? She talks about leaning into the universe, knowing that there is more than enough. There is more than enough. You are more than enough. You have everything that you need to succeed. Okay, so it's about trust here. It asks you to pay attention to how you nourish your mind, your body, and your spirit. Because right now, it says that you're wobbling around like a little calf, okay? That you're not grounded, right? So we talked about that. This need for you to be grounded. You may have been distracting yourself by being on the internet too much, or, obsessing over a relationship, or not eating healthy, okay? Whatever it is, you're being nudged to access how you're looking after your needs. Remember that the universe has a way of reflecting back to you events and conditions that match how you treat yourself. So you want to treat yourself as if you are the divine empress that your spirit guides are telling you that you are, okay? Step fully into that. Do your part and give you the very best, okay? Because the universe wants to give you the very best, and nourish your well-being. So heed her message and everything will shift in your favor. Okay, so the Cow Spirit is a really, really abundant spirit, but she really is asking you to lean into how you're taking care of yourself. All of you beautiful souls that chose pile number 3. I need you to get into your grounding. Step out of this mind paralysis that you've gotten yourself into. This card here is talking about flexibility. Okay, the Willow Spirit asks you to lean into your ability to adapt in your situation. Let go of some of the things that are holding you back. Be flexible in your life. Be willing to bend rather than break. Be amenable to change, and you are going to flourish in wondrous ways. This is a beautiful reading, you all, and this is what I see. I think that you can 100% come into a space of emotion and feeling. It's right there under the surface for you, and there are beautiful, beautiful feelings for you to experience. Joy and abundance and happiness, okay? So that is your reading today. Thank you so much for joining the Abundant Joy Tarot. This is our day. And if you like the readings that you're getting, please like, share, and subscribe so we can continue to grow the community. So happy to have you here. And I will see you in your next reading. Have a joyful day, y'all. Bye-bye.